has been traveling and preaching and has drawn quite a crowd. Imagine with me what some of the people there may have been thinking. So there's this crowd walking around. Yeah, they're just walking around. It's gotten so big that I bet many of them don't even know who they're following or why. I mean, they just see the excitement and the urgency of everyone else and figure they better follow along to figure out what's going on. But you see, some of us, like me, we've been there from the beginning and we've seen. We know who we're following. And surprisingly, it's just one man. Why am I following him, you ask? Oh, you see, I was in Galilee just visiting the synagogue the other day. And though I couldn't see him at first because of the people crowded around him, I heard him speaking and saying something about some kingdom. This caught my attention at first, but what really got me was when I saw him heal a sick man on his way out that had been sitting in front of the synagogue crippled for years. I knew he was something special then, so I joined them, and I've been following him ever since. I mean, I want to know more about this kingdom, right? Don't you? It sounds pretty promising to me. You know, I heard that before even I met him, he was walking around on his own and just called a bunch of guys and told them to drop what they were doing and follow him. And you know what they did? I think they were fishermen too, that's what I heard. I don't see how they can afford to be away from the sea that long. But I mean, if he's convincing enough to them, then he must be worth following. I bet he's got something good to say that will hopefully make life a lot easier. Maybe help us all out like he did those sick folks. Jesus did have something important to say, but it wasn't what everyone else expected. According to Matthew, he had a presence that was significant and powerful. Jesus sits on a mountain. The disciples approach him, and he opens his mouth and teaches. These details and specific word choice stress the importance of both the message and Jesus himself. Jesus is portrayed in the likeness of a king, the Messiah. You can see how this type of presence would be desirable to follow and eventually draw a crowd. They longed for something. Answers, healing, guidance, deliverance, wholeness, and with the hopes of finding these things and finally finding success. But then Jesus starts to speak, and jaws start to drop. Blessed. All right, he said, blessed again. I sure would like to be blessed like he's talking about. It sounds like happiness to me, you know? But let's see if I fit in this category or not. I mean, I'm not mourning or meek like the ones he mentioned before. All right, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. What? People who are hungry and thirsty? You mean that woman and child that were down there begging at the bottom of the hill? I passed them on my way up. They were in everybody's way, slowing us all down. You mean they're the ones that are more blessed than me? But you see, I got a good job. I got a healthy family. We're able to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. I mean, sure, we don't have it all, but we don't lack for anything either. Hey, that's honorable. Okay, he said thirst for righteousness. But doesn't he know that's why we're here? We came for deliverance of some sort. I don't know what that's supposed to look like exactly, but maybe more answers than questions, unlike what he's giving us right now. You see, Jesus is speaking to a group of people that are following him out of some inner desire for wholeness, to find the key to a more successful life, because this is what was deemed honorable at the time. There was honor in not having to want anything and to live contently. And instead of giving a blessing to those that have it all together and all figured out, those with the greatest honor, Jesus gives the blessing to those who are lacking, who hunger and thirst for righteousness, and he promises fulfillment. Imagine the crowd's defensive reactions at first. The mumbling gets louder as more and more become frustrated with Jesus' outlandish sayings. Not only that, but his metaphors are a little confusing. But then again, imagine for those closest to him, for his disciples, those that had dropped everything to follow him. They had careers and were probably pretty comfortable with their lives. But there was enough hunger and desire to leave and follow Jesus anyway. They wanted more of what God wanted. They wanted to witness more of Jesus' miracles of healing, to hear more truth from his teaching. But I'm sure the farther they walked and the more they saw and the better they got to know Jesus, the thought of following such a righteous man became overwhelming. How could they live up to the expectations of such a righteous and perfect leader?